If you're here from Bring a Trailer, welcome to my auction. If you're not here from Bring a Trailer, surprise, this car is up for auction. This is my 2013 Porsche Cayenne Diesel, and it's been probably one of the best cars I've ever owned, but it is unfortunately time to let it go. Welcome to Out Motorsports, the channel for cars as you are. My name is Jake, and if you're here from my auction, thank you so much. Let me take you through a quick tour of this car, why I bought it, the history that I know of it, do a quick little exterior and interior tour of kind of the highlights, the blemishes. It's generally pretty clean, and then we'll get it on the road and talk about how it is to drive. Now, I know a lot of people love a cold start, so let's just cut to the chase, go right to that cold start video. So, I'm gonna go ahead and foot on the brake, turn key. So first of all, let's talk about the history of this thing, where it came from, and why I bought it. So in 2021, everyone knows the car market was just nuts. I owned a 2016 Ram 1500 Sport that was fully loaded. I really loved it, but I wasn't driving it between working from home full-time and also reviewing new cars for this channel. So I put it up for sale on Craigslist for more than I paid and figured if someone wanted to bring me that kind of money, they could have it, and a Mopar enthusiast who found his dream spec truck brought me that money, and suddenly I had no car. So I had to go shopping. Decided I wanted something a little more fun than a pickup truck that could also tow my race car trailer. These are rated to pull 7,700 pounds. They do it very well, and so I bought a Porsche Cayenne. Now, I was searching for either a GTS or a diesel. They both appeal to me in different ways, and I bought the diesel. This has lovingly been referred to as the happy little frog, the happy little school bus, because it just is this endearing, charming little diesel-y motor going on under here, and I really like it. So anyway, bought it in June 2021. It came to me from a dealer in Philadelphia, right outside of Philadelphia, that deals in luxury used vehicles. And the car's not actually from Philly. So this car spent its entire life, it was purchased new in Florida, spent its entire life down there, aside from a couple road trips you'll see on the Carfax. I think they got oil changed on road trips. And it was owned by some couple down there. And then I think what happened is they traded it in. Whoever they traded it to said, it's too old for our inventory. We're just gonna get rid of it. So they put it to auction. The dealer in Philly bought it. I found it on Car Gurus or Auto Trader or somewhere, called them and put a deposit down over the phone. My friend Tyler, who lives up there, went and checked it out and said, no, it doesn't smell funny inside. It's not in awful shape. You should buy this thing. And I took the train up and bought it the next weekend. So I've had it since June of 2021. It had just under 68,000 miles when I got it, and now it's got right about 81,000 on it since. So I don't drive it too much. In fact, I think a couple of my friends have driven it maybe more than I have, but it's been on some road trips with and without a trailer attached, and it's just a lovely car. So under the hood, you've got the 3-liter Audi V6 TDI. So this is what's in the Q7 diesel. It was in the Touareg diesel. This is a Dieselgate car. We'll come back to that in a second. But what is it? 240 horsepower, 406 pound-feet of torque. It is punchy. Show you how it drives in a minute. It's paired to an 8-speed torque converter automatic that's actually an Eisen unit, so very similar to what you'd find in a Toyota Land Cruiser, for example, and standard all-wheel drive with a center locking differential. This is not going to have some of those transfer case issues that you hear about with this era of Cayenne. Those were avoided if you bought the diesel or the hybrid because they use a slightly different setup. Now, when I found this car, I really wanted one that was A, a color, and B, had some options on it. Now, the diesels, from what I've heard, were hard to find with those things because the diesel engine added a lot of cost to your MSRP. So if a dealer bought one to stock, they were not going to spec it super high because you'd get a really high sticker price. This one, I think, was ordered because it is a nice color combo. It's a diesel. It's got most options on it. You can basically think of it as fully loaded minus PASM and air suspension. So it does not have the adaptive shocks. It does not have the adaptive height. It's just regular steel springs, fixed rate dampers, but frankly, I'm okay with that. It's less to deal with, and it's so hard to find a diesel with PASM and air in the first place. Now, paint color-wise, this is just called dark blue. This is a 2013 color. They did change it, I think, for the facelift, but this is called dark blue. It's got a Luxor beige interior. I'll show you that in a second. And this has the 19-inch Cayenne Design 2 wheels, and I don't know, they're 19s. You can get a luxury touring type SUV tire, which is what I have on here. So this is a Bridgestone Alenza AS Ultra. It's the newest version of their tire. I had those installed whenever the auction says, a couple years ago. They've got like 9,000 miles on them. And I do have a 5th matching wheel and tire for this car. It will look just like this. It will come with the sale. And that is because when I tow with this, I don't want to rely on the inflatable Space Saver spare with a trailer hooked up. That is not my jam. So found a matching wheel on eBay, put a 5th tire on it. It's the same thing. Other thing with these, with the brakes, it needed brake pads sometime after I bought it. I've got Hawk LTS brake pads on here on both axles. Those are meant for heavy duty towing. They really help stop this thing, and it's got giant brakes. It's got 6 piston calipers on the front, 4 pistons on the rear. When I did the brake pads, I did fresh rotors, we did wear sensors, and a few months later it got fresh brake fluid, so it stops quite nicely. Now let me take you around and show you, there's a couple spots on the exterior that I want to show off for the sake of just making sure you know what flaws are here. Generally this presents really, really well. It looks really good even from a couple feet away, but there are a couple spots that are worth showing. All right, so exterior wise, this is in generally good shape. When I bought it, I had it paint corrected and ceramic coated, so it's still got some good life on the ceramic coat. Up front, there are some just little rock chips that you see. You know, it's got 81,000 miles. It's had some highway use, of course, so some of that is just kind of what it is. There's one spot here where I got a paint chip, and I tried touching it up, and I didn't do a great job, so someone else could fix that a little better than I could. There is no front plate installed on this car. It didn't come with one. I do have the bracket that will come with it, but I didn't want to drill into the bumper, so you can do that if you would like. Otherwise, everything up front is in pretty good shape. Down here, something happened before I bought this where someone must have scraped a curb or a post or something, and you've got some scrapes in the paint and on the little plastic fender arch thing here. So this is something I never bothered fixing because I do live in the city. I figured if I fix it, someone's just gonna hit it again right there. Poking over to one of the tires, you can see these have plenty of tread on them still. They're in very good shape, so I expect these will last a good long time. Now I'll show you all 4 wheels. They're also in the gallery on Bring a Trailer, but whoever owned this before me hit everything but the lottery with these wheels, so all of them have a little bit of curb rash. This is the front left. It's got a little bit right here on the edge, and I'll show you the others in a second. You do have the little diesel badges, which I think are adorable. Moving further down, the only thing I can really notice here on the driver's door is with the paint right here on the door handle. It's just missing a little bit here and there. Someone could touch that up, I'm sure. Again, I just didn't really bother because I use this thing, I drive it, and didn't do much there. Little spot here, again, it was caught. These are all just little things. And moving around toward the back, everything's in pretty good shape here. Nothing really noteworthy. We'll show you the trailer hitch. So the way you can tell if one of these has been towed with before is if it's got the 7-pin wiring connector actually there, because these all came with a block-off plate. So this does actually have it. It's got a 7-pin connector I installed. So I've been towing with it just a little bit here and there. It's got regular 2-inch receiver, nice big spots for your safety chains, and like I said, it's rated to pull 7,700 pounds, and it actually does it really, really, really well. Moving around to the other side. There was one little scuff somewhere. I can't even find it now. Well, I guess that bodes well. Oh, right here. This one little scuff, this guy also, someone must have booped it right here. You can see just a little bit in the paint, and it goes right back here to this spot on the bumper. I think this could maybe be buffed out. I just haven't tried because if it's up to me, I'm gonna just end up ruining the paint, so you don't want me trying that. And then looking down the passenger side, this is all in pretty good shape. So generally pretty good. I'll show you this other front wheel. Like I said, these all have a little bit of rash on them here and there. This one's just got a little bit right here. And then let's go back to the right rear. It's got a little nick kind of right there, and then a teeny bit right here. And again, I use this, I drive it everywhere. If I don't have something else to drive, I've towed with it, I've taken it off-road. You know, it's gonna get used, so I didn't bother having these fixed. I would have just put different wheels on it. This is probably the worst wheel. This is the left rear right now. So it's got a little scuff on the spoke here and a scuff on the other spoke. So I don't know what whoever was driving hit anything, but they definitely hit some good stuff. And these are a square tire setup, so you can rotate these really easily and keep the all-wheel drive nice and happy. All right, let's talk about the interior because there are some things going on in here worth discussing. So first things first, this does have the Porsche enter and drive keyless start deal. So you don't need a key to start this. The key just stays in your pocket. It's the same key that you get with any other Porsche, but in this case, you don't have to stick it in. So it's kind of a rare option from what I've seen. I don't know, I like it. If we get in here, this is the Luxor beige interior. It is very, very, very beige. It looks like Skippy Peanut Butter threw up in here, but it's all in good shape. This is the passenger seat. These are the 14-way adjustable seats. Let me actually show you the driver's seat too before I sit down. These are all in really good shape. The leather on these cars is nice and thick, so it holds up pretty well. I really have a hard time believing this thing's 10 years old, but it is in good shape. You can see the seat controls down here. It does have an extendable thigh bolster, which is nice. These are the original carpets, and they also are in decent shape for the age of the car. All right, now let's get in for real. Go ahead and put my foot on the brake, twist that key. And you do have the multifunction display here, so you can use this wheel on the steering wheel to control it, so it can show your trip, it can show the built-in navigation, we'll talk about that in a second, your audio stuff, or some vehicle stats, but those are replicated with the gauges either way. This side, this is going to be for your volume. You can program the diamond button to do whatever you want, and then you've got pick up and end your phone calls. Now this steering wheel is the weird Porsche wheel in that both of these Tiptronic shifter button things do up and downshift. So you push away from you to upshift and pull to downshift. They both work the exact same way. Your cruise control is on the stalk down here, pretty easy to use. Typical turn signal right here, and then your wiper controls on this side. I did replace the rear wiper motor because washer fluid had leaked into it and it was shorting out and running all the time. So common problem, I replaced that 6 months ago. Now the other thing you get with this car is 3-position memory on both the driver's side and the passenger side. And that is nice. I don't know who needs 3 positions, and then they're also linked to the key. So I've got 2 keys for this car, so technically you've got 6 different memory settings. Looking up here, this is worth showing. So this is just the regular clock, but you'll notice it still has a working second hand. A lot of times the second hands fall off of these, and mine somehow has not done that. I'm gonna pull back, and I want to talk about the PCM. This is the Porsche Communication Management System. It's got built-in navigation, so you can use the built-in Navi, but we all love CarPlay, so I added it. This is through a kit by a brand called Isudar. I'm probably saying that wrong, but it supports wireless CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. So this is all typical right now. This is just your usual PCM system, but if you push and hold the info button, then you get CarPlay. So this is really, really nice to have. I love it. It uses the factory PCM. Nothing is modified. It uses a circuit board that goes inside this box. So I did take it all apart. It's the only kit that uses the factory microphone for Bluetooth. So that's why I picked this one. But all of the regular PCM functionality here is normal. So you just go right back to it. You do have a 6-disc in-dash changer. I was able to keep the XM radio working. So if you really care about that, it does have the XM board still in it and it will work. It goes through the auxiliary input for the sound system, but the nice thing about it is this has Bose audio, which is not great as far as premium audio goes. These did offer Burmester and like no one got it, but you do get an extra EQ. So you can make the Bose audio sound far better than a car that doesn't have this kit installed. So I really, really like having it. It's pretty nice to have, and I just use CarPlay for everything. And this does support Android Auto as well. It will do it wirelessly or hardwired. So I use wireless for the most part, but there is a USB port that now sticks out right here. You can plug a cord in and use it for your phone down there. Now looking at the center console here, this has dual zone climate. It does have both heated and ventilated seats on the front, and then the back seats are heated as well. This has the Walnut interior package, which just gets you extra wood trim in places, and it extends onto the shifter and kind of around here. Now looking further back, this is your regular all-wheel drive system. These do not have the more advanced all-wheel drive systems of the prior gen Cayennes that got locking differentials and all that. Porsche finally figured out that Americans don't care about that, so you just get this little guy and you can put it in off-road mode or not. That's all it really does. Then back here you've got your sport mode for your transmission. It does work. It is kind of nice to have. Stability control, someone called it PSM, Porsche Save Me. You can turn that off, and then you've got hill descent control right here. Looking further back, 2 cup holders, 12-volt socket. There is minimal storage in this armrest, but it is indeed there. Armrest leather's in nice shape. If we move up to the top, this is your control for your parking sensors. You've got home link for 3 positions of garage doors, and then your lights and all that sort of stuff. Now, worth mentioning, the headliner was starting to come down in the car in the back. I think it's kind of a common problem as they age, so I did have it redone. So this was done, it's the matching Porsche color, and it looks really, really good. We did not redo the sunroof panel, and you can see it's really, really, really a close match, so I'm really pleased with how that came out. And then this, of course, just opens up to a regular sunroof. And we'll take a look at the back seat here. One other thing that this car has that some of them don't is the power-operated rear sunshades. So these are on both back doors. You use them through the door window control, so you just operate it like you normally would. And then you can put the window up or down, pull again, and it goes right back up. Now this door, the door lock actuator failed on, so I did have that replaced. It's a common thing, and it seems to be on the left rear door more than the others. I don't know why, but that is fixed and working flawlessly. And again, looking in here, the carpets are in nice shape. I don't really think there were kids in this car. Really nothing smells, nothing looks weird. It's all just in really, really, really nice shape for how old it is and the miles that are on it. Just passing through. And over to this other shade, I'll show you that it works. I think those are kind of neat. And then moving down here, you've got some vents. There is not a separate climate zone back here, it's just more vents. You've got a door lock control and heated seats for your outboard seats here. And then there is a pull-out armrest. It has a couple cup holders. It's a really good road trip car. Driven it on some long trips, and it's been really, really nice. And then let's show you the hatch area. It is a power-operated rear hatch. I have a box of junk in here. You do have this nice cargo cover. And otherwise, this is all in good shape. Let's see if I can get this out of here and not hurt myself. Yes. So then looking here, this is all in nice shape. I did do a carpet extraction on it once. You got your subwoofer for the Bose audio, another 12-volt power socket. And then under here, this is where that regular inflatable spare tire lives. Like I said, I don't like to use this or rely on this if I'm towing, so I don't. The full-size spare will not fit under here, so I keep it in my race car trailer. You can put it just in the cargo area, but this one will work as well if you need it. You've got all the kit for the jack and everything. And then looking down here in between the spokes, this is where you fill the diesel exhaust fluid. This should last you roughly a full oil change, if not a little longer. It uses more def if you're towing or working it really hard versus just puttering around. And then in this here, this is your front license plate mount that has somehow never been mounted, and we're gonna leave it that way for now. You've got 2 buttons up here. This one will just close the hatch. This will close it and lock the car. Kind of a nice thing if your hands are full. Go ahead and hit that, let it close. One other thing I was going to mention with the cosmetics, there's a little bit of bubbling going on right here on the silver strip. I'm not sure what that's from. And then also if we take a look at this bumper with the hatch open, you can see some just little light scuffs that are from, you know, people sliding things in and out. Again, generally before I owned the car, but it presents well, it looks nice. Not something that you'll notice unless you're really scrutinizing the whole thing. And then one other thing it's worth mentioning, this car does have a note on the Carfax that it was hit very lightly on the left side. It's the most minor that Carfax categorizes the impact. I don't know what happened. I really have no clue. I have no details that happened before my ownership. To me, this all looks good. The paint looks fine. Like I said, I've had it paint corrected, and to me, it's all one color and everything's all right. So really unsure there, but yeah, it's got a little ding. But like I said, I wanted to just have this as a car I could use, and I'm not scared of it. So that's that. So we'll do a little driving here. I promise to shut up and just let you hear how the car sounds. It truly sounds like a little school bus. I really think it's fun. I'm gonna put it in sport mode for the highway acceleration just so you can see what it does in sport mode. It kind of locks the torque converter early and just like bangs through gears and holds the revs right around 3 grand. It's a weird, cool experience. It is quick to a point, and then you can tell it's only making 240 horsepower, but it feels pretty spry. There are tunes you can put on these to up the power and torque without changing the turbo or getting rid of the emission systems or whatever. And then if you want to do that, more power to you. All right, so I'm gonna sandbag it a little here and then just mat it. torquey, not fast. It will hang out in 6th and 7th gear in sport mode and much more reluctantly go to 8th. If you take it out of sport, it will very quickly drop to 8th for fuel economy. I have seen 30 to 32 miles a gallon easily road tripping this thing. It's really pretty cool for how big it is. It does a really nice job. I will say if you're towing, if that's a thing you're gonna do with this, it tows really, really well. It does a better job in sport mode, or if you throw it over to manual mode and shift it yourself, because otherwise the transmission is a little too dim-witted to understand what to do, and it'll do this kind of 6, 7, 8, 7, 6 up and down dance, which is really bad for a transmission, so I just shift it manually. But day-to-day driving, it's fine in drive. Another thing I love about driving this, it is so quiet in here for what it is. I think it rides nice, it's quiet, it's comfortable. We did about a 1,200 mile road trip, me and some friends, last summer in this, from DC to Kentucky and back, and it was just a lovely experience. Other thing on the highway in particular, there is blind spot monitoring. It's in the base of the mirrors. You can kind of see here, I've got the little orange lights that fade in and out, and works nicely. Everything in here works. I forgot to mention that, but everything works. Go ahead and... Transmission replies like when it wants to for your shifts. You got to do them a little early, but it will hold the gears. It's kind of nice. See here, the backup camera still works with the CarPlay kit. It is decent quality, and you've got the parking sensors as well. And now I'm in the regular drive mode, not sport, so it's in 6th right now at 30 miles an hour. I'll go ahead and pin it again once we get away from traffic here and just show you how that works. But it does a nice job. It's just a little more laggy, but it works fine if you don't want to fiddle with sport mode. Yeah, just fine. And I didn't talk about the whole Dieselgate thing yet, so let me do that real quick. So when these cars were new, that was right at peak Dieselgate when Volkswagen Audi Group got caught with the emissions cheating stuff. So they were able to recall all of these. So the Cayenne Diesels, the Q7 Diesels, and the Touareg Diesels, and the Q5 Diesels. They were all running the 3-liter TDI. They were able to recall them and basically reflash them and give them a different tune on both the engine and transmission to adjust the emissions output and make them compliant. So when they did that, they gave you a extended warranty that was good on basically the entire drivetrain and the entire emissions system for 10 years or 120,000 miles from the date of the car's first sale. So in the case of this car, it was built very, very end of 2012 and had far less miles, so it would never be out of warranty based on mileage. It was just based on time. So I bought it knowing that there were a few common issues with the engines in these that would be resolved by that warranty because it covers the entire long block. So what happened was about a year into ownership, I noticed it was leaking oil. They all do it. It's from the lower timing cover, and the warranty would cover it. So I brought it in, and I had the local Porsche dealer closest to my home do the repair. So Porsche of Arlington, Virginia did the repair, and I guess they let the intern do the repair because they took the engine out. This is a common thing. They drop the whole front subframe out and they want to reseal the whole thing, and they give you a ton of new parts. If you look in the auction, there's photos of my entire service receipt. It was 7 pages long in just parts because they don't want you to come back. So they replaced all sorts of stuff. I know it got an oil pump, I think it got a water pump, any bolt that they touch, any nut that they touch, everything is brand new. So they resealed the whole thing. I take it back, I drive it some, I take it on a road trip for Thanksgiving, and it starts leaving puddles again. So I call the same dealer back and I say, hey, whatever you fixed isn't fixed, and it's leaking quite a bit. So they then say, well, bring it back and we'll make it right. I'm like, all right. So I go back to the same dealer, and I guess they have a policy of letting the same technician who did the first job and didn't do it right fix their own work. So after much back and forth and terrible timelines, terrible communication, all this, it was really frustrating. They give it back to me fixed, and it's still leaking because they let the same guy do it again. So at this point, I'm really frustrated. I engaged Porsche corporate and said, hey, this needs to get fixed, but I'm not taking it back to the same dealer a third time because they clearly can't do the job right for some reason. So can you please work with me to get this fixed at a different dealer? So it went to Porsche of Chantilly, Virginia, and they did an excellent job. The engine came out a third time. And they discovered that when everything was done, the rear main seal had been installed and it was nicked a little bit, so it was just dumping oil out the back of the rear main seal. So they cleaned everything up, put a new rear main seal on it, and tested it, and put like 100 miles on it or whatever, and it's been fine ever since. So they did that. The warranty is now expired based on the age of the car, but the engine has been out and inspected very, very thoroughly at this point to make sure that nothing is leaking or problematic. So that is that. The only other thing that happened to it that was covered by that warranty was a limp mode got triggered, and it was the EGR cooler. So they replaced the EGR cooler, I don't know, that would have been fall of 2022, I think. So those are the only things that really went wrong with it. I know having the engine out 3 times is not just like a fun, flirty little maintenance thing to do, but thankfully it was covered. All of the TDIs do it. I think the earlier ones on the Cayennes are more prone to it, the 2013s and 14s, but good news for you is it's all been fixed. So should be good, I hope. All right, and that is my 2013 Porsche Cayenne Diesel. If you're here from Bring a Trailer looking at placing a bid and still have some questions, please leave some comments in the auction itself, and I will respond to those as soon as I am able, or shoot me a DM through the Bring a Trailer email system, and I'm happy to respond to you privately too. Otherwise, thanks so much for coming along. I am sorely gonna miss this thing when it's gone. It's been one of the best cars I have owned, and I've owned 20 plus at this point, but it just isn't being driven, so time to let it go. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. See you for the next one.